Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk Today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome, and thank you so much. And every day I say with a prayerful, and grateful heart that I'm honored and privileged to sit in this seat to facilitate. And today, with all deference to all guests, everywhere, anytime, whenever we have students in the house, we are honored. Three fine, wonderful gentlemen joins us. We invite you to go online, log in, whatever you got to do to tune in, to listen to these fine gentlemen, as we invite you to be a part of what promises to be a phenomenal talk show led by these honorable gentlemen. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. I'm honored that we have an opportunity now to speak three of the students within our education system. And whenever the school facilitates their time, thanks Mr. Murray for bringing them, for chaperoning them, making sure they get to the studio safely, get some lunch after and back to school. That's great. I say that to share that as adults, in particular, we need to not only be the nurturers and the protectors and providers, but we need to show that you are able to, join hands and hearts and share your individual experiences, but a collective voice. So to Jaren, Dwight, and Matthew, or to Matthew, Jaren, and Dwight, or to, Dwight, Matthew, and Jaren. The three amigos. Yeah, tell me, amigos. All right, no, but welcome. I'm not just honored. I'm excited and enthused, and the ability to look at three of you and to see not just the promise and the potential, but that hopeful expectation. We flipped the coin. We nominated Jaren to start, we think.
Right.
Okay, so with that, we start with Matthew. Mr. Matthew, how are you, sir? Good afternoon.
Good, I'm good.
Thanks. And Jaren, welcome. How are you?
Well, thank you very much, cuz, for inviting us.
Mm-hmm.
It's really an honor, and I'm doing great, and I'm very happy to be here.
All right. And then, Dwight?
Good morning, or good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dwight Ebanks Jr. here on the talk show today to talk about some issues that will affecting Cayman Islands right now. I have several topics that we'll be talking on today, and I'm very happy to be here, like Jaren has said. And back to Mr. Dwayne.
And see, that enthusiasm, that eloquence, but that courageousness is something that is evident in us. But sometimes, maybe as parents and as teachers and coaches, just the adults, sometimes we don't nurture it. We don't ensure that we don't guide you so that you say what you say in the most respectful, responsible way. But at times, we ignore that you have something to say. So, Jaren, with that, Dwight shared, there are some issues that you guys want to talk about. Two questions. First off, why? Why do you want to talk about it? I mean, my uncle, Dwight says to me, well, who listening can't help and who can help not listening. Is that really true? So why do you want to talk? I am listening.
Okay, well, I want to talk because I would like my voice to be heard. And I feel that when all three of us speak out about these issues, that hopefully there will be something.
All right. I should have said it just carefully and respectfully. Bring that mic a little bit closer to you.
Okay.
And I should have looked at that earlier. Because Jaren has that booming voice, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Premier, I just...
It's all right?
That okay, Paul? We'll let you know, man. That's so
All
far so good. Yeah, he pulls the mic closer. Like, what did he go back from it closer? All right, we'll get there. So we want you to also, individual and collectively, share your voice. So you want your voice. And the issues then, what are some of those issues?
Some of the issues that are affecting game.
Yeah, that we want to talk about today. We can list them up. We'll get to them as much as we can, right?
Okay, well, myself, I am a big fisherman. I love the water. I love anything to do with aquatic life, fishing, diving, conking lobster. And one issue that I've seen affecting the Cayman Islands, not as of recent, but for a while now, is the poaching of lobster and conch especially. Out of the season, we have guys going out there killing them by the hundreds, by the thousands, taking them, and there's nothing left for us when the season opens back up. Now, this is a big issue for me because I myself am a very young guy. I'm from a generation that's basically just starting, and for the future generation, when I have kids, when I have children, I want them to be able to experience what my father has experienced, what I can experience by diving these conch and lobster. And by the way that it's looking now, they won't be able to have that. And the way that the DOE and the enforcement goes about with these laws and their actions, it's really not doing anything good. They need to do more, and there needs to be more rules, because this is the only way that our future generations will be able to experience what we can experience now.
And thank you. And we hear the concerns relative to the environment, whether it's development, whether it's the population placing increased pressure on the natural resources, whether it's the littering, whether we're going into, barcas and throwing down stuff. But beyond that, enforcement, you shared, is an issue. Can I then ask, is it then, and if I say something that isn't clear, let me know if I say that maybe, is it then that the ethos, the societal cultural ethos is one that needs to be re-examined, in that if you think back to our parents and their parents, they lived and they said, save something for tomorrow. Their mindset was, don't take everything today, only take what you need. And they were mindful in the absence of laws. Is it that today now we take because we think it won't end? We take now because we don't know if we'll have tomorrow? Is that part of the problem, that in addition to maybe enforcement issues, maybe we as a people aren't sufficiently respectful and just going in and using and abusing?
Okay. Well, I would also like to add on that I can understand part of the reason why these guys would do this, because it's very hard to live in Cayman now because everything's so expensive. And I understand that as they take these conch and lobster and the fish, that they're selling it to try and make a living, which I do understand that. But something has to be done about that as well, because before, like you said, our parents would only tell us to take what we need and to leave some for tomorrow. That is the way that we should go about it. But the way that the economy is now in Cayman, and how everything, inflation, the price of living, it's very hard thing to do. So I can't understand why they would do this.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. Come to you, Jaren. Whether you want to pick up on what he shared, whether you want to add something else, we'll bounce back and forth, and each of us will share our views. To you, what would you like to say initially?
Well, before I actually start, I like the part when Dwight had say, I like to go fishing.
Fishing, you heard it too.
That's a real Cayman term.
I heard it too, man.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about the cost limit, because this is actually the first thing on my little list.
Yeah,
here.
see that boy.
So
your voice will be heard today, Mr.
That's
Jerry.
right. Amen. So, the cost living has been a major issue for a very long time, but it has only gotten worse now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with the very high cost of living, many persons struggle to even buy food, pay for their water bill, electricity bill, and if they're renting somewhere, even to pay for rent.
Yep.
And this caused them to be on the verge of being homeless or to even starve. So it is impacting all of us Caymanians, but especially the vulnerable Caymanians. So I hope that, today our MPs are listening to us, and that they will try and address this issue because it is going to impact them in a very positive way as well. So,
all right, we're going to take our first break. Matthew, when we return, if it's okay, we start back with you. You can add, you can say about what's pressing to you. Gents, we can talk about it. We come back to the issue of the poaching and the like. I'm honored to sit here. I'll be honest with you, man, if I didn't have that sense of hope, which thankfully I do, but it's even greater now because of you guys. Right, our listeners, call a friend because our students are talking. Let's ensure that we are listening. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us as we invite you to be a part of a discussion. Let me confirm the phone lines. 949-6990, Mr. Paul? Is it 949-6990? That's working today. The WhatsApp at 925-3261. You call and you share your thoughts. In the studio, 3 students from John Gray High School. Matthew, Jaren, and Dwight joins us. And whether we talk about fishing or other things, we could be talking about issues that they see as significant. So, Matthew, as we went back into the break, we come back now. Your thoughts on what are issues you want to talk to?
Well, what I would like to highlight the most as a young Caymanian, what irks me the most is that what I think about my future, that there's a lack of land to buy. And just thinking about all the entrepreneurs and all the investors coming to Cayman, that they can come here and take up all the land duty-free. And as Caymanians, we have to pay that. But the government says that they want this island developed. So they want the entrepreneurs here, and they want to motivate them to come here and take more land and develop more hotels, which I personally think that we do not need. I think we just need a setback on that and allow some Caymanians to get some land of their own island.
I don't want to put words in your mouth. I certainly don't want to misunderstand. We heard many people saying that the government should be mindful of the concessions that they give to incentivize foreign investment. Two questions. Are you saying that should be something to be considered, that maybe we hold back on concessions?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you also saying that in terms of the pace of development, that maybe the word that is in the media now relative to wars, take a pause, just take a little break, catch your breath? Is that what you're sharing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll leave it to you guys, but if we do that, then the politicians and policymakers saying, but we need money to pay for housing and roads and school and education and healthcare and everything. To the caller who's using the WhatsApp line, the 925-3261, if you want to get online, you have to call it using the WhatsApp. To use the regular cell line, it'd be just as easy to get on board as using a carrier pigeon. So to call us on that number, respectfully call it using the WhatsApp. But Jerry, I mean, you want to add to what Matthew was saying? I mean, the cost of living, as you reference, land and being able to purchase it. What do you think? I mean,
it's very true, what Matthew said about the land, and I can totally agree with you because, for example, there's one piece of land across from where I live. So I live at West Coast Apartments, Burgery Hill. And there's one big piece of land on the hill across from me. And I was telling my mom and my entire family, say, when I get older, God's when I can afford to buy that piece of land, I hope I can get it. But then they told me to say, well, let's hope it's still there, because that is the reality in today's society. And so what I would advise the government to try and do is to make sure to secure majority of the land that they can as long as possible, so our young people can have something for themselves, so that they can also pass it on to the next generations to come.
Would you, and sometimes you be consciously, unconsciously, asking leading questions, right? But are you saying that the government create some sort of system that prevents foreign investors from buying property in Cayman? Matthew, did you want to jump in?
I would say instead of encouraging a lot, you can add taxes on buying land. For if you're not a local, you have to be Caymanian to buy land and not pay taxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jerry?
Well, I totally agree with what Matthew said, so I totally agree.
Yeah.
But then, you want to jump in there, Dwayne?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about something that Matthew said. I believe he said that Cayman needs to take a step back. Another issue that we were going to address as well is how Cayman culture is very hard to come by nowadays, especially from visitors. There was especially a video made from a foreigner that came, I think it was on a cruise ship. He came here and he was looking around the island, and he stated how he came here and he never saw anything, not a thing of Cayman culture. All he said it was like is another part of Miami or some other really developed country. He said he could not find anything like that of going to Jamaica, where you could see their culture everywhere, Cuba, where you could see their culture everywhere as well, how they still have their old cars, statues, monuments, people everywhere. He came to Cayman and all he saw was like people just trying to sell him stuff, and he saw these foreign brands like KFC and Burger King. Couldn't even find not one Caymanian restaurant. So I just wanted to talk about that with all the infrastructure that we have going on, I get that we need to have some source of income for the government, and foreign investors come here and try to boost the economy. I get that as well, but the further we go with this, the more Cayman culture is being just shunned away. It's taken out of the light. You can't see it anymore. You can barely even come across it. As you step off that cruise ship, all you're really going to see is all the new infrastructure they have, that new walkway, bunch of restaurants that are not even Caymanian type restaurants. But they have Guy Harvey there, the pub, White Whale pub. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of clothing stores, and that's it. Can't really find nothing that relates to Cayman anymore. And now that is a big issue that we have here, because as more people come, they're not learning anything about the island. They're just looking at it and says, oh, this is a haven for foreign investors. A lot of them say it's a haven for them. And a lot of Caymanians struggle to even show themselves to anyone, any of these visitors, and they can't really express their heritage or their culture at all.
Okay. To our listeners who want to join us, if you call in on the cell, use the WhatsApp 925-3261. That way we can answer you if you want to go on air. If you want a regular call, 9496990, or WhatsApp call on the WhatsApp, using the WhatsApp. Get it? 925-3261. Jerry?
Well, I can have jump in, because as a patriotic Caymanian, what Dwight said about, Caymanian heritage. It is true, because with the overdevelopment in the Cayman Islands, I'm going to say the Cayman Islands, because that, includes Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, because I've heard that even in the Brac they're planning on doing some kind of development. So it is very critical that we protect our heritage at all costs, because it shows what makes us Caymanian.
Mm-hmm.
For example, and I must commend the Cayman National Museum, the National Archives, and the National Trust for protecting our heritage. So I would like to thank them very much for their continuous contributions to our country. So yes, it is very critical, like I've mentioned earlier, that Caymanian heritage needs to be protected. That can include historical sites as well, because when the younger generation comes up now, then they would say, well, what did you have to do in these days and so on, and what makes me Caymanian? And then if they just have a book about heritage and they can't see it physically, that'll make them very sad, or majority of them, because then they'll say, I wish I was born so that I could be able to see my heritage physically, not just in a book. Mm-hmm. So that is very important. And I also spoke with the chief officer and that's also my ministry in Youth Parliament, which is the Ministry for Youth, Sports and Heritage. So I spoke with the chief officer, Miss Teresa Echaniki, and she was telling me that they actually have a task force now. That ministry has enforced a task force to happen where they can see what historical sites are here, and so that they can be recognized, so that we can protect them. So I will commend Miss Echaniki and her entire ministry for their continuous contributions as well. So thank you very much to Miss Echaniki if you're watching. I hope you're watching. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Gents, we do have a caller joining us. Let's go to the phones. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
And to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to ask the young men what sort of employment they want to get into when they're at a certain age, because sometimes you want to do you set up for something and then you switch and you do something else. So that's the question that I have for the young men.
Okay, so you want to know. All right, fair enough. And thanks for calling. Only if you guys wish to share. And there are many of us, we never quite sure. We know what we want to do. Many of us know for sure. Mm-hmm. And we pursue it, and some change. As it stands now, any ideas of what you're thinking as the caller asked? Your career is looking like? What do you want to do?
Well, for me, I would like to do something in real estate or business, or own my own business. And that's why I'm so heavy on the lack of land. Mm-hmm. And I would like to own my own piece of land as a Caymanian. Mm-hmm. And I would like to build my own house on that. And so just real estate for me.
A dream that I think many of us had. Right? You want to have your own property and so on. Okay.
Right.
So business. Jaron?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, caller, for the question, by the way. So I'll say before I become a politician, because you got to have a job before you become a politician. So I'm thinking about working at a law firm, being a paralegal or something like that, because as we were talking before, the show, Sterling, that I mentioned where, I would plan to go away to the UK for 3 years, continue law, and then come back home, get a job at a law firm, wait to run for election 2029, and good to go.
2029.
Yes, and like one of my friends who's an attorney at law, she said, I don't consider this as 4 more years. I just call it one more election.
One more election.
That's right.
I like the perspective. Dwight, what about you?
For me, well, my dream job ever since I was young was to continue with my family business, which is running charters. That's why I talked about the poaching of aquatic life first, because that's a very big topic for me, as I'm big into fishing myself. So that was my dream job. Would have been to, well, it still is, to have my own charter business, run my own boats, and be a captain. That's what I really want to do. But the way it's looking, also might think about getting into engineering, because I'm still figuring stuff out as I'm very young right now. But my dream job would definitely be to have my own charter business, to take tourists out and show them about our Cayman waters and what we have to offer.
Well, Jaren?
Well, you're not going to announce your candidacy today, or what?
Hey. Hold on, is it okay? So we got one Exco is now no longer 4. Okay, so I'm going to say the 4 amigos, but that's okay. So, no, but I only joke and jest in that if you have that societal political interest, and I believe all of us should, as citizens of our country, get registered to vote and participate in our elections, have a keen interest in what's happening in our country, because what you see may be from a perspective that your parents don't see, or even other adults. This affects us all. So I'm inspired by what you're sharing. But 4 years from now, 40 years from now, for some that's a long time, and much might happen. Is it that we have to be doing things now, not only to provide for that future, but also to prevent things that can't be undone? You dig a hole to plant a tree and decide, I don't want it there, I can move it over 5 inches, 5 feet. Yeah, you may be able to dig it up, but that hole is still, that little indentation is going to be there, right? But, you drill a hole through the reef, no epoxy can put that back there.
Yeah.
So, are we at risk of doing things that we can't undo?
Oh, yes. That, for sure. That is something I could speak on. Dart, he wanted to dredge out through Barcus and out through that turtle grass, and I think directly through the reef to make a new canal that comes in all the way through there. That in itself is a very bad idea. If you have any knowledge about how the ecosystem works, that turtle grass is very essential for our ecosystem here in Cayman. That is where a lot of lobsters are. Turtles come there to breed as well. Lots of fish. That is a great habitat for many aquatic life. And as you take that away, you're damaging Cayman. And that is a hole that cannot be filled.
Okay. We'll take a break in 10 minutes, but we got a lot to cover if I can. Only, Matthew, I don't have necessarily start with you, but I'll start in if you wish to pivot to others. The question I want to ask, based on what Dwight just shared, it would appear that it's the Caymanians who are voting, the Caymanians who are elected, the Caymanians who are the ones on many, if not all, of the boards, the statutory authorities and the like, the planning, Central Planning Authority, for instance, and the like. So it's us as Caymanians, whether that's generational, that we've been here, before the mosquitoes and the turtles, or whether we have been here for a short time and have status. So Caymanians, it's us that are passing the laws, not doing. How do we speak to us about what's happening? Are we ignoring it? Is it obvious to us? Do we feel helpless? Matthew and Jaren and Dwayne, any responses to that?
Well, for me, I've heard many thoughts, and the biggest issue is that nobody is going to go on the roads and protest. I mean, you'll see it very, very, you'll barely see it. But like this moment right here is, like, I'm glad to share my ideas.
Yeah, and we want to hear, and I might, if I can, and with the adults from your parents and teachers, I would pray that the wider community who are hearing you, please don't hold what you say against you. Maybe challenge what you're saying, but commend you for having the courage to come and share your thoughts, right? Because if you deny a voice, tomorrow it may be your voice is denied. So, Jaren, to my question, but it's Caymanians. I mean, it's us. We're the ones passing the laws. We're the ones electing. We're the ones. It's us. So, what's the issue?
Well, I feel that we as Caymanians, we need to do better, and we need to, because years ago, us Caymanians, we used to help one another. You hardly see that anymore. So we need to be reunited again and work together as Caymanians, because that is what is going to benefit our country, and that is what is going to make Cayman great again. Like they have Make America Great Again, they'll have Make Cayman Great Again.
Hey, and I say it's a political slogan, okay? Dwight, I mean, you don't have to answer, but the question is, I mean, it's us.
Yeah. Well, what I like to say to that is very money hungry. A lot of people are very money hungry, and a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes that we do not see. We don't really want to get too much into that, but I feel as myself, I feel that a lot of politicians are doing stuff behind the scenes that we cannot see, and they are influencing these people into voting for stuff that we do not need and that will only benefit them in the future. A lot of people could go against me when saying that, but that's my personal belief, and that's what I've grew up around hearing and seeing.
Yeah. So your perception is that then, if I'm hearing you, greed, and sometimes whether justifiable or not, we're pointing fingers at the politicians, we're pointing fingers at quote-unquote the special interests who are influencing the politicians, and it goes down the line. But if that's the case, is that then that we have in our society this culture that allows that sort of behavior to not only be normalized, but accepted and expected? So, Matthew, to that point, you said protests. Now, I would, hasten to add that I would imagine what you were sharing is, hey, let's peacefully get out there and stand just like we would for the mangroves or for the fish, that we stand and say no to these things that we don't think are good. How would we protest? How do we demonstrate our displeasure with what's happening?
Well, we could. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. It's a good point. Good point. We have a good point to take this next call. Let's join our callers. We have Dwight, Matthew, and Jaren, some students who are joining us from John Gray. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hi. Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm just listening to this young man, and he's saying that they don't have no Cayman restaurant. I've been saying they should have a park for the adults, the old age-able people to go to and to have Caymanian food. And that they made this park out there in the front. And when I look, I see one thing up there selling clothes and this and that and foolinish. And I said, make they sell Cayman food.
That's right.
That's true.
Yeah. So I agree with the young man.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. And you're most welcome. To others who want to call, it's 949-6990 or a WhatsApp call, 925-3261. I think it takes not just courage for what you guys are sharing. And as you hear, H-E-R-E, here, present, or is it here? While you're physically, here, maybe other people would be inspired too to say what you're saying, because nothing you said so far is anything that many of us have been saying for a long time.
Yep,
so what is it that we're not willing to speak publicly? Jaren, I think you said we need to come together, we need to unite.
Right.
Why is it that we're not doing that? I mean, Jaren, Matthew, Dwight, who wants to go first?
I'll speak on that. What was the question again?
Yeah, either spin it this way, what's going to take for us to come together, or why is it that we're not coming together to support each other, to recognize that whatever's happening, it could be done better or differently?
Okay, I feel like Caymanians in itself, Caymanians, when it comes to family time, very loud, very expressive people, but when it comes to expressing like our rights and trying to defend our island, a lot of people do not stand up. They don't go outside. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to be heard. They just want to be behind their door in their house.
So we need to be more assertive.
Yeah, we're not assertive at all.
Okay, Jaren?
Well, I would say the same thing as Dwight once again. And talking about that too, I just realized our little family tree too. Because, for those of you who may not know, Sterling and Dwight is my family. Very close family, by the way. So I just like to put that out there.
Yeah, we are.
And my biggest supporters too. So I'm so happy to, you know, have my family to support me.
And Marty's family Jason.
That's my
And
brother.
Martin's my good friend, but who knows, we might probably be family too.
Yeah. but
This small island, yeah.
Yeah, man. We have another caller, but you guys make us very proud. You know, and I really appreciate the school allowing, you know, you to develop your interests and be able to, you know, find a space to voice. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, Dwayne, how you doing?
No,
Good?
not bad. How are you?
Yeah.
All right. Now, you know, we're going to take the break.
Just struggling, but...
Yeah.
Sorry?
We got to take the break at 12:57. No, you keep talking. Let's make it know we got to take it at 12:57. But you talk and then we can continue, all right?
Okay, sure.
Okay. Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, really, I normally wouldn't have called them, but this is a really enlightening, inspiring,
yes,
and encouraging session that you have there, because, I mean, it looks like, you know, we still got some hope. Because when you have, you know, young men like that, you know, I'm really enthralled by it, because, you know, it seemed like Cayman future could be in good hands if, you know, they could keep the mindset, you know.
Yeah, man. I voted for him.
Don't fall on the wayside, which is very easy to do, you know.
Yeah.
I would seek the path of least resistance. But yeah, to kind of just hinge on what they were speaking about is, I think, you know, what they're trying to say is, in one word, is we need to see the picture of preservation. We need to see that on the surface, superficial a little more. And, you know, too much, too quick, too fast normally is never good in most situations, or just about. Because, you know, sustained development, we don't have something like less than 100 square miles here. So pretty soon what will happen is, as some, it might sound a bit sarcastic, but, you know, just looking into the future, it could have its merit. Someone told me recently that, by the way, it was an expat, that pretty soon it seemed like the only place that Caymanians would have to go is out in the sea.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
But you know, like I'm saying now, what the alternative is to how we're developing is to build vertical, and you're going to see that soon. Now, Caymanians is not used to that, of course, but it will be just another way of life, because, you know, change. Even though some things change, you know, the more some things change, the more they stay the same. But it's inevitable that the rest of the world, you know, we're not an isolated place anymore. We're not a place that time forgot. You know, we're global now, and the influences is here. You got so much nationalities here and everything else. So you will see culture erosion, especially if you don't have people in the driver's seat who thinks that that is important. If you have a different concept and model in mind, you'll never ever, you know, initiate or try to preserve a culture, encourage what we had, but it's what we have, and that is all about MONEY.
That's true.
We can make more. Now, with development, you know, the thing is, we can have to take the good and the bad, and we're in a precarious position here in the Caribbean. We don't have, you know, we're under UK, but everything we get is imported back from the US. We don't have any, per se, natural resources that I think we could have had something that could have been generating some form of income, that we could have some, you know, other pillar to kind of lean on in hard times.
Right.
But as it is just tourism, which is very fickle, when I say that, you know, people can be persuaded, and a lot of people might come, but they mightn't spend that much. So it's a show and tell situation.
Right.
Again, also, you know, this financial situation. You know, what goes around comes around. When Bahamas finance went down, when that collapsed, they all came here.
Yeah. I don't want to.
You know,
can I respect?
I'll hold on. Go on.
Yeah. Would you?
Do your thing, man.
Yeah. We got to do the news and the thing. Thank you for understanding, to our fine gentlemen. We'll pause. We do the news, the breaks, and then we come back. And thank you, sir, for holding on. We'll join you right after.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I go in flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Since 1976.
Covering Grand Cayman, no Cayman, Cayman right. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Passport and Corporate Services Office advises the public that its offices will close for business early on Friday, March 8th at 11:30 a.m. to facilitate staff training. The office will resume business as usual on Monday, March 10th at 9 a.m. In international news, soldiers have been deployed to defend the airport of the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince, from an assault by armed gangs. Witnesses reported hearing shots ringing out in the vicinity of Toussaint-Louverture Airport as security forces clashed with armed men. The gang's aim is to prevent the return to Haiti of Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who is believed to be abroad. Violence has spiraled in his absence, with the gangs demanding he resign. Facebook and Instagram have gone down in what appears to be a massive outage of parent company Meta's platforms. People trying to log onto the websites and apps were finding error messages and were unable to refresh their feeds as normal. Tracking website Down Detector indicated hundreds of thousands of reported outages for Facebook and Instagram affecting multiple countries. Meta has acknowledged the issues and says it is working on this now. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
More news available at www.radiokman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born September 25th, 1947 at Watering Place, Cayman Brac, Royce Adolphus Dilbert was the firstborn son of Hallen and Grace Dilbert, née Tibbets. Like many of the men of his time, he spent many years at sea. During his breaks from sea life, Mr. Dilbert employed his diverse skill sets. He worked at Alfred Scott's block factory as a mechanic with Eston Scott, and his uncle Bergman Dilbert performed dynamite blasting in Cayman Brac with the late Reverend Lee King, as well as worked at MRCU in Grand Cayman. He was also an entrepreneur selling fruits, cars, and tires, and painted and repaired vehicles. His mechanical skills proved immeasurable when in 1979, working in the Campeche Bank oil field, Mexico, his ship was chartered by Halliburton to supply material to cap the exploratory well which blew out in Mexico's Bay of Campeche. In 1981, he retired from sea and took employment with the Cayman Brac Power and Light Company as chief engineer, where he remained until his retirement in December of 2018.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks to Mr. Murray and the team over at John Greer High School for allowing their students to come across and share their views. And these are their views thanks to your teachers, your classmates, your parents for seemingly nurturing and encouraging you to have not just a courageousness, but a willingness to share. And I hope, as the callers have shared before we join the next caller, we'll be inspired, and not just to talk, but to do something very, very positive. Sorry, you're still on the line with us?
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you again for allowing us to take the news break. You were sharing, sir.
No, I go.
All right.
Yeah. First of all, on my return, I just want to say to you that, I must commend you, because I was beginning to think, at times, listening to the show, why there's no more young people becoming involved, because a lot of people here seems to be disillusioned. But the main thing is that, it's good to have, whatever, every 100, you may want to have just a few, but at least that consciousness of who they are,
right,
and what they deserve, what rights they have.
Can I ask you?
This place here, go on.
Sorry, may I ask you, please, and you can answer if you wish, but just inspired by what you just said in terms of our young people. We know that you have to be 18 and eligible before you can be registered to vote. And then you have to be 21 before you can stand for election once you meet the qualifications, right? Do you think, what is your view? Do you think, A, that the age to vote should be 18 or less than 18 or more than 18? And then likewise, the age to stand for election should be at 18 or 21 or higher or lower? I mean, what's your view?
You mean to throw your hat into the political
Right.
arena
So
as a
so
potential candidate?
let's take the first question. All right, you have to be 18 now to vote. Do you think that age should be less than 18, stay at 18, or increase and be higher than 18?
Well, I guess the reason for it is the consensus of 18 being like an age that is kind of recognized for
adults, as being adult.
Yeah, maturity to the point. You know something about the world order and what have you not. Yeah, that's my take on that. That's my observations. But you're saying to actually become more or less a potential leader of the country at that age.
Yeah, I'm just asking the question: should it stay at 18 or be more?
Yeah, you're throwing it out there. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I just wondering.
Yeah. Well, I mean, quite honestly, they have to say, you have to start from somewhere and all this. But the thing is, to me, qualifications. I don't know how many people really study political science and knows what leadership really takes before. And I think the incentive for a lot of people to get in, and I spare no quarters when I say this, is that the job pays well. That is a big incentive, along with the other fringe benefits.
Right.
But I think that what should be taught is that before, if I'm sitting at a panel and you're gonna try to proceed as a potential leader of the country, MP, become a member of parliament, then I'm going to ask you some very pertinent questions about not just Cayman, what you'll do for me or the island, but like I said, it's no longer an isolation here. This is about the world, and how much do you know about what is happening out there in reference to development, etc.
Right.
So I think that would come with a little more maturity. Not to say that the person may not be, you have people that is very young, but they're very experienced. They're like their age actually surpasses them in the sense of their knowledge.
Yeah, they're more,
because nowadays, with the experience of the whole internet situation from the time that came in is like, people blow your mind with how much they know at a young age. But to say that, I think a person should be a little maybe. Not to put a cap on it, but I would say maybe like mid-20s.
Oh, fair enough.
To get some more public respect. I think that people will be more accepted.
Yeah. I don't want to take all your time, so I invite you to share with us, and then I get back to the students. But anything else you want to share with us?
Yeah, sure. I just want to say that it's good when I listen to these young men and I can hear that their feet is on solid ground. It's just that all things considered, whenever you think about life, you always think about all things considered.
Right.
And that means the good, the bad, the ugly, in between, and the pros and the cons. And must always have an open mind. Never think that you have arrived. You life is a natural progression where the longer you live, it's supposed to be the more you learn. And I think what has happened here is that why one of the your young, I don't know his name, I can't remember his name. He said that something about, like the lack of Caymanian presence when it comes to standing up for, the good causes and, their civil rights, etc. One thing that they probably haven't taken consideration, and a lot of people probably hasn't, the way that we have developed, we have evolved over the last 50 years or so. Everything seems to have dropped in our lap. It seemed to be good at the time, but it hasn't learned us to fight for anything. That's why you see the people that's coming here, you drop them in the North Pole, a lot of these will survive. Caymanians won't, because we haven't had to fight for anything. Now, there may not be a good enough explanation for everybody, but it has its bearings on the way we are.
But what's interesting,
we're not obtrusive.
Yeah, I appreciate
that. That's outspoken. So all things considered, but with these young men now, like I said, they seem to have the spunk and the gall to really get out and speak it and say it as it is. and that's encouraging.
Yeah.
And we have a great island here. Just all we need is to see that if we can get a better balance going forward.
That's it, man.
So having said that, we catch up.
We catch up, man. Thank you. That U.S.
Thank you, man.
President.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, for
Yeah, man, all the
sharing.
best. Yeah, man.
Having the audacity, the hope. You guys giving us a sense of hope as the callers, and I'll share some of the comments. But then to the caller's point, yeah, we may be a little bit passive. We're not so assertive. But the minute we start to exhibit a sense of national pride, a sense of, wait, do we need to put the brakes on? Do we need to maybe go left? Maybe we need to go around the corner. Anytime we exhibit anything like that, there are seemingly public condemnation and calls about being nationalistic or xenophobic or something. So you can't win. I leave it to you all to respond to any of that, or if there are other topics. I know you'll get back to school. I know that you are anxious, not to be away from classes. Because I was I would have seen me too, I didn't want to be at a class. But other topics that you might want to share, we can continue on any of these topics, but is there anything else you want to throw on the table?
Well, this is something that many family members of mine and persons from the community have addressed to me, and they said, Jaron or Mr. Premier, whatever they call me, because
Mr. Premier,
they
like
call
that.
me different names: Premier, Mr. Premier, future politician, future MP. So
speak it into being.
A whole dictionary of names. So rent to own has, if I'm correct, that used to be enforced before, right? Rent to own.
Rent to own.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in terms of purchasing properties and the like. Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell me what you.
Well, I would say that there should be a measure put in place for persons who are renting a house to have the option to rent, because rent to own, because this can be another way for persons to have a house of their own, which will cost them less money for rent. And many young Caymanians are coming up to take over society, and we have to make sure that we don't sell out all of our land, as mentioned earlier. And so instead, we must secure our land to allow the younger generation to have something. And with that, we should have something in place for them to lease to own land as well.
Okay. So as we go and take the next call, I leave it to you as a budding lawyer, and I commend you to pursuing your studies in law, and almost everybody. It's a great degree. So as we take the calls, there are two things that you said that I can talk to more later. Leasing or leasehold is something that's many have said we should lease, not sell. But a rent to own is probably a private contractual agreement between the individuals who may say to the person, it's not just renting, we will rent you this, and portion of your rental payment is also going towards acquisition to purchasing. But those tend to be purchase and seller private agreements. Maybe you're asking about something more formalized. So it's a thought process. Let's take one of these next calls. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dwayne.
And to you, man. How are you today?
Okay, and you?
Oh, man. I am great, thank God. But I am even better today if you see the presence of these young minds who are willing to share so publicly, so spiritedly about their future.
Okay. Yeah, and good afternoon to you guys too, man.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, man.
Yeah, well, speaking of the age that someone should be able to run for election, I actually think it should be 25 years of age.
Okay.
I think that is studies have shown that we fully mature at that age.
Even men?
At 25 years old.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the United States of America, you're able to buy a gun that could be an M16 at the age of 18. But you're not allowed to drink until the age of 21.
In some states, right? Or yeah.
So they take it very seriously when it comes to the consumption of alcohol.
Fair enough.
And I agree with them.
But if I can
very much on that, especially when it comes to our young people.
Right.
Drinking and driving.
Okay. Yeah.
And when it comes to the young man that was speaking about renting to own, there are a lot of people now who will refuse that because of the money that they can make over the years on that apartment or that house. But what the government can do is start collecting these concessions from these rich people. Stop giving away our money to rich people, and start building apartments in East End with the 300 acres of land that the government has. They can build apartments in East End, and our young people, especially those coming out of school, are able to rent to own. And after they're finished paying for that apartment, they're able to buy a piece of land elsewhere if they want to, and build a home. And then that apartment that they probably already paid for rent to own can help them to pay their mortgage for the house that they're living in afterwards.
All right.
And when it comes to concessions, once again, and it's been a lot of years now that the government has been giving away concession. I know they must have gone over at least $2 billion by now. And when I was building watercolors, the condos in 7 Mile Beach, the first 10-story building in the Cayman Islands, a Jamaican guy came to me who was a plumber, and he said, "Keith, it's bad what the Cayman government doing on the young people. You all don't even have one professional trade school in the Cayman Islands." He said, "In Jamaica, we have trade schools." And he said, at least 75% of us you see on this compound went to a trade school. So for the government to be giving away our money to rich people when we are in need of things such as trade schools for our young people, that's not fair. And anyone who comes to this island and who are rich and who are profiting from this island, especially because of the CI dollar, should not feel hard to pay concessions if they really love and care for the Cayman Islands people.
Yeah, man.
And that's not all. We need hurricane shelters. The Cayman Islands is 3 feet below sea level. 3 feet below sea level. We need hurricane shelters in this country with foundations at least 10 feet in height and with buildings that can hold at least 1,200 people in each district. That's where these concessions come in again. But we continue to give away poor people's money to the rich, and then we still leave us putting our lives in jeopardy when it comes to hurricanes or tsunamis or whatever it might be that could be jeopardizing our lives and us losing our lives. Because
yeah, man.
I don't know how many times you've been to 12 Mile Bank, Dwayne, but I've been there a couple of times. And coming in from the 12 Mile Bank, you can actually see Cayman down in a bowl. That is the 3 feet below sea level that Cayman is. It's just the mercy of Jesus Christ and God Almighty that water does not come ashore.
Yeah.
But it's not fair for the government to put its own people's lives in jeopardy by giving away our money that is supposed to be used to build hurricane shelters to save our lives.
Yeah, man.
The government cannot continue to put people in hurricane shelters with the foundation that is level with the ground.
All right, I appreciate the sentiment and the respect to our students get back to school. Any comments? If not, we take the next call. All right. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good evening, Mr. Sterling.
And to you, sir. How are you today?
I am glad to hear your voice.
Likewise. I'm glad to hear yours as well.
You know.
Sir?
I had missed you on Valentine's Day.
Well, I am.
Come on.
I am glad that you have been able to recover well, man, and will continue to keep you in our prayers.
I am still on the recovering.
Yes, sir.
But I'm glad that I was on the list this morning, that God woke me up.
Hey, thank God for small mercies, huh?
Amen.
Yeah, He put me on the list this morning and woke me up. Thank God for that.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, Mr. Sterling, I was listening into you guys when I was over there in the U.S. And you were all coming in good and clear. But I am trying to find out if you have any update on the WhatsApp situation up here in Bordentown from Float. Are they saying anything? Are we getting a discount this month on our bill?
I can't speak for Flo. They haven't yet signed my contract. No, I can't. You're calling on the WhatsApp now, so we're hearing you very clearly.
I'm calling on my data.
Yeah, that part I can't speak to, but you're using the WhatsApp line to call us. So thank you for using your data to call us.
Yeah, but is Flo giving any update to the people, to the customers?
They did share that they've had some issues that they were aware of relative to the quality of voice calls, and that. But again, like many things, if the consumer sits quietly, businesses will, take it that.
This was from yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So I mean, the thing like this is a lot of inconvenience for people and the companies, and not only Flo, but other companies on the island when things go down, because they're providing the service, they don't consider the people and said, well, everybody get $5 discount this month.
Yes, sir. And respectfully, we're going to just pause you there because, speaking to that whole idea of consumers and their rights and government policies is a discussion. Just we got like 5 minutes left, and I think we could speak to you for another 5 hours, and hopefully, for the next 50 years, your voices will be actively heard. You'll continue to be engaged, but it also will inspire us now. So as we sort of conclude today's discussion, we take it around the table. You can share anything. Who wants to jump in first, Matthew? Jaren? Dwayne?
Yeah, I would like to say something. The previous caller who mentioned about coming from 12 Mile Bank, it looks like a bowl. Everything that you've said, I completely agree with. Very good points, sir. Very good points indeed. But when you're coming in for 12 Mile Bank, because I myself a fisherman, I always go to 12 Mile Bank, whether going for wahoo, yellowfin, or whatever. As you come back, you also have to think about the geographical mapping of the sea floor and how wave heights can also depend on the mountain ranges, several mountain ranges that you can find coming from 12 Mile Bank, because you have two small banks within deep water as you coming in from 12 Mile Bank. It will appear that you are above sea level because how the waves are and how it looks. It can appear that Cayman may look like a bowl, but as you come closer to the shore, you'll realize that as the horizon line, as you come closer toward it and you can see the Cayman shore, you realize that we are above sea level. Most of Cayman is actually above sea level slightly. Some parts may go deeper, may go a little shallower than others, and we may be below sea level on some parts, but for the most part, Cayman is above sea level, and it may appear that way as you're coming in from 12 Mile Bank. Varies on the weather itself and where you are actually located coming in.
Okay, so thank you for that explanation. See, I learned something today. Mr. Jaren. Mr. Premier, sorry, sir.
I just want to quickly wrap up saying, about the pension part.
Yeah.
Talking about how, some retirees are being paid less than $1,000 a month. And I believe that they should be able to get assistance from the government because nobody can't live off of $500 or less. The only thing I could probably buy is a few groceries from the supermarket.
I read about that.
Then I just want to quickly give some shout outs. So I'd like to give a huge shout out to our phenomenal principal, Mr. Clark, who is also my great friend, my tutorial 11MH, and my wonderful and amazing, phenomenal tutorial teacher, Mr. Lawrence, and the entire John Gray High School staff. Also, I'd like to make a big announcement as well that the Youth Parliament debate will be held next week, Monday, March 11th, 2024, God's willing, at the House of Parliament, and I will be on the government side as I am the Minister for Youth, Sports and Heritage, as I mentioned earlier. And so I'm really looking forward to this event, and you can feel free to watch it on Monday, God's willing. It starts at 10 o'clock a.m. and we are expected to finish at 2 p.m. You can watch it via YouTube on the Cayman Islands Government Television.
All right. Mr. Premier, sir.
Yes, sir.
I said I with love and respect. Mr. Matthew, any thoughts if you want to share?
Well, I do agree with the guy that called earlier about the concessions and giving it away, and that we've lost $2 billion and all that on infrastructure. And the reason for that is because we are accommodating the rich people to come to this island, and we're giving them, you know, luxury, like the luxury of just taking up land. And that is the reason, like, they don't have to pay for materials or nothing like that. And the problem is that government thinks that we need more development and we need a higher population. And that is why traffic today is so bad. And we are taking up more land by expanding the roads, which is not needed. What is needed is a reliable public transport system that runs daily.
Right. Gents, thank you very much. If your schedules allow, your teachers can grant the permission together, collectively, individually, with or without other your colleagues. You're more than welcome to come along. Thanks again to Mr. Murray and the team for allowing you to be transported here, giving you the time to share. And I'll say more, but if I may, just make sure I read it correctly. One of our listeners messaged a couple messages came through, and this one says, to the caller, yes, these young people seem to provide some hope. Now, what we need now is to make the video and the pictures of you all larger so we can see and support from now the faces of who we should be voting for.
Well, my picture on a lot of my pictures on Google already, so this can be part 2 now. Or no, not part 2, probably part 5, part 6. Lost track.
Yeah. So 2 big announcements. Youth Parliament on Monday, but even bigger than that, Jerry for premiere in 2029.
That's right. But I'm not sure about the premiere part.
I shouldn't be.
Yeah, but still be a politician, so. And
yeah, man.
I'll not just be representing my constituency, but the entire Cayman Islands.
All right. Thank you all. I honestly pray that we as a people will look to each of you individually, but hold you all up collectively, nurture, support, guide, ensure that you're not only protected and provided, but you're given that voice, and will help us as a people to unite. I hopeful every day, but today even more so. So, cuz
I just want to quickly give another shout out, because it would be terrible of me not to mention them. So to the staff at the House of Parliament, who continues to work phenomenally with us to help us with our speeches and the practices for us to be able to know what it feels like as a member of Parliament. So I'd like to give a huge shout out to Miss Nadra, Miss Patricia, Miss Nikita, Miss Zena, and my colleagues and great friends from the Youth Parliament program. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to returning very soon.
Thank you all very much, and again to Mr. Murray and the team. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of the afternoon. Enjoy your lunch, and if you get dessert, get chocolate. We're gonna pause and take a break, and when we come back, in the absence of the students, we'll share some stuff. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I go and flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
The 17th Annual Bill Rudy Rotary Central Science Fair, Saturday, April 13th. At the Arc Camana Bay. Plan for it. Start your project now. Open to students across all schools in Little Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Grand Cayman. Homeschool students are welcome. Register now. Today, tonight, online, rotarysciencefair.ky. The Rotary Central Science Fair, just around the corner. Saturday, April 13th. Rotary Central, creating hope in the world.
Every day, thousands of residents use our roads, and every journey requires responsibility. Our actions behind the wheel can have serious consequences. So let's make a commitment to safety. The Cayman Islands government invites you to take the Safe Drivers Pledge. The pledge is our opportunity to show our dedication to creating a safer environment on our roads. First, visit gov.ky/road safety/pledge. Read and check all the boxes, fill in your name, and click submit. It's that easy. Let's make our roads safer together and say no more for 2024. Visit www.gov.ky/road safety for more information and to take the pledge.
Join Water Authority for the grand opening of its Cayman Brac Customer Service Office at the Avistar Building, Friday, 8 March, 10 a.m. till 12 noon. If you register for the new customer portal account or apply for piped water service, you will be entered for a chance to win a new phone or a water service gift certificate. Plus, you can meet the team and enjoy some refreshments. It all happens on Friday, 8 March, 10 a.m.
It's Open Line on Talk Today. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or 925-3261. Call now.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And it's Open Line. Let's go straight to the phones. Welcome. Thanks for calling. Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Yes. Thank you so much for calling.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you for taking my call. I tried earlier, but the phone was busy. That's good. The young people were they were catching the interest of others, and they were able to make their contribution. Really appreciate our Cayman young people. A young man called earlier, happened to be Keith Orette. I know that voice. And speaking of young people and some of the challenges they face, not least of which is affording a home, a piece of property, or buying an apartment, or building a small home. But I think the suggestion that was made regarding government stepping in and not throwing it out to everyone. I mean, the Bible says you must love your neighbor as yourself. So it tells me that you must also love yourself. So it's not always that we want to help others, but this needs to be a concerted effort where young Caymanians who are coming out of school they feel that there's something to which they can look forward to, and so on. So I hope that if there are ministers of government that are listening, that this will be taken care of. The other thing I wanted to touch base on is that I think it was in late 2021 when the former government was hoping to open the mental facility at the East End location. And that has not yet been achieved. It has not been opened. And only yesterday afternoon, I saw here in West Bay a young man that I know needs that kind of treatment and care, but it's not available. It's just not available. As we know, Northwood Prison was not built to be a mental institution. The HSA can only accommodate certain individuals and only for certain periods of time. So I hope that that's one of the things that's going to take a priority. I believe there might have been a goal set for the end of March. Let's see. But I know that it's an urgent, absolutely urgent situation. I see it in West Bay, and I'm sure that it's all over the island. There are young people and middle-aged who need the assistance where they can get proper care in an institution that looks after your mental, emotional health. Last but not least, know that we are all cognizant of what took place in the Northwester. Many homes in the Northwest, along the coast of Northwest Point, were damaged. I'm wondering whether this is going to trigger an increase on the part of the insurance companies because of this disaster that took place. Now, of course, not having a major, when I say a major calamity here in Cayman, not since Ivan. I know that Tropical Storm Grace wreaked havoc on many of our mature trees, but I'm not sure about property as such. Having said that, the insurance companies should be flush. They should, after all these years and everyone paying in their monies, they must be a very wealthy entity in this country. So I'm hoping that the rates will not be increased. However, if those were considered, definitely those who were wise enough to have built their property across the street from the ocean, those who lived on the ocean and decided not to rip the trees that were there, the almond trees, the sea grape trees, and other mature trees that after all these centuries, people in Cayman could still live on the coastline, but respected their coastline as far as the growth and the trees were concerned. I don't know what the coordination is between planning and the Department of Environment. I'm not sure, but it seems to me that planning should not be allowed. Or planning should not allow a developer to just raise all the trees, rip the ground, covered over with concrete, thereby starving the soil of water. But in addition to that, in all of this stupidity about we need to see the view, nature tells you what you should do common sense wise. And having said that, it is not only compromising the safety of the individuals who have built too close or who have raped all those mature trees that would provide so much shelter, but they're also compromising the safety of the individuals who are built across the street, who felt very comfortable and safe when these Northwesters hit, like we did years and years and centuries, decades. We kept ourselves safe. Where is government? And where's the Department of Environment and the planning coming together when we indigenous Caymanians held close to our heart the importance of those trees, that growth on the seaside? And how can we possibly then allow most of the time a foreign entity who probably in many cases have had concessions, how can we then allow them to just come and destroy our coastline because they like the view? Well, Sterling, what I'd like to put forward, and I hope that perhaps members of planning and members of the Department of the Environment, because I know how much the Director of Environment has been campaigning and trying to get Caymanians to realize the importance of our coastlines, the importance of our mangroves, the importance of everything that we have that's near the water. But we have allowed others to come in here and do as they please. For after one simple thing, they bought the property, but they are placing in jeopardy the lives of many Caymanians who have built on the other side across from the ocean.
That's all.
We have not had another Hurricane Ivan. Could there be one? We certainly is directly in the path, in the location where this could happen. I thank you for your time.
And to you for taking time to call, and thanks for sharing with us. And maybe an opportune time for us to pause, take a break. When we return, we invite you to call us 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp call 925-3261.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I go in flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered. From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. It is open line as we go straight to the phones. Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Sterling.
And to you, sir. Thank you very much earlier. It was a great call, quick question, very much to the point. Thank you for, recognizing the young people from school. They only got a limited time, and thanks for a really, really, timely and pointed question.
Yeah, because actually, I like to observe the works of the younger people. I can remember from way back, me as a young little fella, wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. I love my music, but I'm still with the music. I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be a doctor, but I wanted to do something that brings joy to me. And then not only that that I wanted to say, but you can't say that and make them make children hear that. But people, they will always they will come across opposition too. They will come across opposition. I don't know what to say, but you watch and you see the different generations of children, what happens to them and what they become, and that sort of thing. So that made me want to ask the question, what sort of employment they would want to get into, because it's so much influences that they face so much things growing up.
Well, this is it. And as I listen to you, I'm looking at a message from someone that I want to share with you, right? But with that, you wanted to be involved in certain things, and how do you think, from two perspectives, as this listener is sharing, and I'll read that in a second, but how do you think you were supported in our society to realize your dreams, pursue your passions?
You mean you mean mine personally?
Yours personally, yeah.
Well, it brings great joy. It brings great joy to do the arts. That's something that's my skill. I can do reggae. I can do a little Spanish. I can do what you call a little Rastaman music culture. And it's something that I love, that I just want to stick with. It's something I love from the time I was very, 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 very young. My mother and my father sang. They used to sing, and my uncle used to sing, and I just love music. I look at Bob Marley as another one of my fathers.
Yeah, man.
I just love that. So I hope that that the young people gain strength and people strengthen them, because like what the little young man was saying, unity, they gotta counsel them and give them strength, and guide them, and that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would compliment that by sharing what this other person messaged, to say that, just like what you were saying, they're commending the young men for coming on, the school allowing them to get here. We do have a WhatsApp call coming in, so we'll take that in a second. But as I shared, with that exchange with that listener, but what are we doing now to make sure that they not only have a voice, they can develop their voice? They're young, they're ambitious, they have this desire to pursue things. Let's nurture that. Let's guide them in the right way to be able to say in a respectful, responsible way, without leading them in the wrong direction, consciously or otherwise, without beating them down so they become discouraged. It's great, man. I really appreciate. That's why just then when you called quickly, you asked one question, and that to me was absolutely respectful to them having a voice. Before we take this other call, though, is there anything else that you want to share?
Well, I hope they keep strong, and I'm sure that you will share good word with young people whenever you get a chance, and
Thank you.
you're a Caymanian, so
Yeah.
I think they're in good hands, the young people of today.
I agree with you, man. And like you, we all have a responsibility to do our very best to guide, nurture, encourage, support, and help them, to find the right path. But thank you very much, my friend. Thank you.
Oh.
All right. With that, we'll take the next call. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Mr. Dwayne.
Hey, how are you today?
All right. Just watching your show, man.
Yes, thank you for taking time, and doing that, and also, more importantly, for sharing your thoughts with us so we can hear what you have to say, and maybe other people too would be encouraged to do likewise.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you very much for having the youths.
Yeah. Well,
come on the show. Thank you very much to hearing them.
Yeah. Well,
all the callers that bless them up and all that. Bless
yeah,
up to them too.
That's it. We got to look after them. I must commend the young people for taking an initiative and saying, it was their decision that they want to come on. The school was very supportive. Mr. Murray transported them here safely and to come back. We worked with them as to what day works best for their schedule. They planned and programmed what they wanted. I hope I didn't put them on the spot by asking, but there's such a passion and such an intelligence, not just the academic, but the societal awareness, man. So I tell you, man, want a good coffee, and my friends at Treats served me up well today, but that'll make me feel as good as just listening to them and being in their company.
That only that time make you feel like that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. The issue now about support.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the students in the public schools, for me,
mm-hmm.
I would start, even if I didn't have the ganja motion, I would try to start it. I would try to start it, say, every student that attends, good attendance and doing well, or at least trying to do well, I would give every one of them $25 a day from year 7 and go up,
mm-hmm.
so that when they get out, as what the last caller said, they can express and do what they want to do without having somebody over their back. You understand? That probably not from here. That probably will never want to see them get anyway.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah, I will start that $25 a day for every one of them that tries to do their best.
So for every day they come to school, they get $25?
Yeah.
So if they're absent?
Yeah, every day.
Okay.
No. Yeah, if they get absent, you got to restart. You got to go start on the next week again.
Okay.
Yeah, if they miss a day out of that week,
yeah,
you lost.
Yeah. So sickness
get it back up.
Doesn't count. Official school sanctioned things don't count. But if they're in school, okay. And then would you put any sort of conditions on how that $25 can be used? Is it or they can just use it when they graduate for what they want?
Yeah, just only for when they graduated. You can't tell them what to do after they graduated with it. After they graduated, like that.
All right, I did some mental math, but I want to just do something. So if you do $25 a day, and let's say there's 181 school days in the year.
Yeah.
That's, if my math is correct, according to the calculator. So I rounded up earlier to 4,500. So they say it's $4,525. I go in on your $25 a day times $181 comes to $4,500 for the school year per student, right? So if we got $4,500, how many students we got? So this is for all students across the school system. Is it just for those at a certain grade
Public
and above?
School only.
Okay, so the government schools, and it's at primary school, middle school, and high school, or just high school onwards, or how we do it?
Yeah, I would think, from year 6 or year 7 go up. That would be like middle school and high school.
Okay, how many students do we have? How many students we have in the schools, I think, now, and say middle school now?
I think probably about 1,200 in John Gray, I think.
So
I should.
1,200. So you want to say 3,000 students?
Yeah, I'm not sure with them. Because they have students that in and out of the college and all that too.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm not sure that one there.
Yeah.
I didn't do the math on how many
No,
children
I
up
did
in here
either, right?
because I don't keep track of.
No, fair enough. And I mean, sorry, my mind sometimes goes kind of fast, and I got to slow it down. So before I go to where I was thinking, let me rewind and ask you, expound on what your thoughts. Why were you saying that, and what are you saying? Let me hear from you.
Well, you got 250,000 to find somebody that shoot up the place or that. Well, why you don't give some of that money to students to make them think, well, I'm not going to really shoot up the place, and I'm not going at least probably try coach or probably try just sit down and learn about playing football. It got to be something. I just saying, like, before you think about picking up a gun, what you don't think about, boy, you know what? I might try to get paid and go to school.
All right. So what's the prison population now? 300? 1,000? Was it? Do we know what's the prison?
The prison is full. Oh, I know it.
Okay. So it's $100,000 per prisoner, right? That's what we told?
70,000, you see, or whatever.
Right. Okay, 100,000 a day. So if we can round it off to 100,000, we got 500 prisoners? We got 300 prisoners? What we got?
Probably, let's say 350, 400.
Okay, let's just say 400. Make it easy, right? And everybody can do the math, 100,000 times 400, but let's do a calculator and pretend this calculators are right. $40 million? $30 million? $20 million? What's the budget?
Well, I know the budget for the year. I know the budget for the year just for going after the ganja boats and whatever else is $200 million.
Okay. So let's take your numbers, right? And let's say we do $25 per student, and we limit it to 1,000 students, 3,000 students. And you say they can only collect that at graduation, right?
Yeah.
And let's say that's anywhere between $4.5 to $10 million a year. And we can put that in, we can invest it. When they graduate, they get it. So we're not paying that out every year. We put that into a fund. I can see some merit in it. I can see people already finding problems with it, but I like how you're thinking. I know we got a break. So if it's 100,000 for the prisoners, and whether that's 20 million or whether that's 20 million a year or whatever you're saying, and we can give in students this money and it's not up front every year, then potentially we could be not only saving but incentivizing the child not to, engage in too much errant behavior.
Yeah, if they won't think about how they gonna get money, because they thinking how they get money is either sell drugs or pick up a gun. And how they get that influence is through the whatever TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and whoever else around them that they didn't go to school or they dropped out of school, and this is how they get money now.
Right. Sorry, we got the news break. You want to hang on? Or you want to call back?
Yeah, if I can, or up to you. You want me, or you got other callers?
No,
man. I'll get off.
My friend said you are first in the queue. You can hang on if you wish. All right. When that caller come back, thank you, sir. Thank you. And you know what? Brainstorming, we might come up with some ideas. Join us after the break.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Minimum Wage Advisory Committee will host a press briefing to discuss the report findings of the National Minimum Wage Report, October 2023. The briefing takes place at the Government Administration Building Wednesday, March 6th at 1 p.m. In international news, a UN team says there is convincing information that hostages held in Gaza have been subjected to sexual violence, including rape and sexualized torture. There were grounds to suspect the abuse was still ongoing, the UN said. The UN team also found reasonable grounds to believe sexual violence, including gang rape, took place when Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th. Israel's foreign ministry said it welcomed the definitive recognition that Hamas committed sexual crimes. The International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for top Russian commanders over alleged war crimes in Ukraine. Sergei Kobolash and Viktor Sokolov, an Army lieutenant general and a Navy admiral, are the two men named by the ICC. This is the second round of warrants for Russian officials related to the war in Ukraine. The first were for President Vladimir Putin and his children's rights envoy. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. It's Open Line on Talk Today. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or 925-3261. Call now.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us, and thanks to the gentleman for holding on. Hey, thank you for letting us take the news. As you were saying.
Yeah, Mr. D.
Okay, thanks for holding on.
That don't make what you think that don't sound like that makes sense. Bitch, are the politician you heard about thinking how much we gonna do for the youths.
Okay, so here are two messages, right? One individual says, we are utilizing incentives rather than sanctions, right, to your idea. So we're incentivizing. Another says, what the young man is saying, talking about makes sense, and others mightn't see this. I mean, in their opinion, that can work. But if you think about it, when was anything working for anyone nowadays? So we need to try something, to see what happens. Go ahead and talk, and I got a couple of points as I look at them to make sure.
Well, the one thing that killed me one time was when one man called in, he said about the shooting. Well, can you imagine if that were tourists that got shot? The way he said, and that kind of burned me to the heart. It's an old person saying that. Can you imagine if that were tourists that got shot? How bad that would have been for the island.
So we put in our life.
So that's why I'm trying to say is they're not really thinking about them young people playing that football. Or they're not thinking about us. Now somebody that is in that generation and thinking about what the generation that is supposed to come.
Yeah.
I was thinking about looking after that.
Yeah. One listener shares that you're thinking outside the box, and that's more what we need. All right.
Yeah.
And, the exercise of brainstorming isn't to criticize what is being said then and there. Is to just get it down and then see what is shared. How much we can use. But to your point, are we now somehow saying that some lives worth more than others? I think everybody appreciates that. The safety of Cayman is important for all of us, and it's a very attractive feature to those who come and visit. But when I think it was Mr. Hewell, another parliamentarian, that sponsored legislation that said if you committed crimes in certain areas, including along the 7 Mile Beach, that those crimes attracted a higher penalty than the same crime committed in other parts of the Cayman Islands. We're kind of putting a higher price tag on the lives of some, right? Is that part of the systemic problems that we're having, that we look at people and whether it's crime, whether it's education, whether it's employment, whether it's health care, whether it's housing, whatever it is, are we saying that, it's good enough for some, but for others it needs to be better?
That's right. That's exactly how they feel. And one other point I asked you, if you would think how many old people dying to how many young people dying, is it more young people or more old people dying? Yeah, anybody can say in the last time is that you can see that it's more young people dying to all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, man.
And why if you don't pay to try to just kind of ease them off of this Miami vibe or this
gangster lifestyle, this ghetto mentality, huh?
Yeah. So I trying to ask them, please. I'm not begging no more. Still, I almost want to tell them, but I want to make sure I hold my politeness. Please, legalize this thing. So people like me, like I say, I would pay for 50 students or whatever sales I do, just to make sure that they get through whatever. You understand? Because I don't like seeing youths grew up and do badness, man. That is bad, man.
Yeah, man.
That is bad, man. I know business about no tourists because they only here a couple hours, couple months, whatever. And then they go tell us that we can't use the beach or we can't go fishing with my youths to teach them how not to do things.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. In legalizing, say, ganja, right, marijuana, cannabis, whatever, quarters, it's said because it sounds better to some in some ways, right? If we legalize it, what impact, if any, do you think that would have on the illegal trafficking, right, of ganja? So would it stop it coming over by the boats, planes, ports, wherever? Do you think the criminals, if I can call them such, those entrepreneurs who've decided that's a more lucrative venture, do you think they would stop dealing with it illegally?
They would definitely, because the reason is for the gun is the pen in the paper. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the lawyer then, like, you owe me money, I need to go get my gun to go get my money.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have my money, I gotta get my gun. So in reverse now, you could say I could pay, instead of a gun, I can buy a lawyer that will definitely come and get my money.
Okay.
With no crime, no violence, no none of that. And if I can import or pay with a permit to bring in a gun, which will hurt more people,
right,
and I can't pay for a permit to bring in ganja, which will probably soothe and probably help
right. So
people.
I hear you. I hear your argument. Mm-hmm. 2 questions then. I know you are someone who spends a lot of time reading, researching, and when you share something, you share it from an informed perspective. So in Canada and the U.S. states that have legalized it, if you don't know to hand, and if you do, perhaps check and verify, to what extent they had an illegal trafficking and trade in ganja, and since it has been legalized in those places that have legalized it, to what extent has there been a reduction in the illicit sales? Do you know?
Yeah, well, I know that the sales on the black market is down.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the sales inside dispensary are up. And I know that the people on the black market is almost trending to try to get in to the legal market.
Okay.
Is always trying to get into there. So they're basically trying to run from the violence in doing business that way. They're basically trying to get legitimized.
Mm-hmm.
In your suit, your suit and tie and all that. You know what I mean? They're trying to do that, and which is good.
Okay.
Which is good, because if you're on a black market, you must sell to anybody. You understand? But if you're in a dispensary and you have obligations and responsibilities to maintain a reputation of your place of business, you will make sure that you ask for an ID before you sell to anyone.
Okay.
You will make sure, you legit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Make it legal, legitimate. Make it. All right. So I'm hearing from you then that when it's legalized, we got proper enforcement and regulation with testing. Maybe we extend it into growing and production and procurement. But then it will have to be some. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. When they legalized it in Mexico, the cartel went from selling drugs, right, to smuggling people. And they took over the avocado farm.
Right.
And the reason why they did that is because, everybody loves avocados. And right now they just sit down in hammocks with the guns just guarding the avocados.
Yeah.
Because they still,
Yeah.
But it's not into smuggling. Some people can say, yeah, but those are like the youngsters then. That they can't get into the avocado market with the cartel.
Yeah, for those who understand what you're saying, all right, they will find a way. I don't want to belabor it, but there's not any other callers in the queue. Can I ask you one question? Do you think that if we legalize ganja, you would see, no, let me phrase it directly. Your contention being that we legalize ganja, we see a reduction in the criminal activity. Do you think that same thing would translate into if we legalize, say, cocaine or some other illicit drug?
Well, cocaine is like a man-made something, you understand? If they couldn't get cocaine, they would go and get a prescription of something that is similar or almost the opposite of cocaine. So the main trend in the youngsters now is something called Xanax and speed and alcohol. I don't know, they drinks that all together and they goes berserk. I don't know.
Huh.
That is the main thing right now. I is hearing from all over the world is that presidents, journalists, everybody is like taking speed to keep up on writing and keeping up on things. And then when they go sleep, they pop Xanax and drink alcohol.
You see, this is, the abuse of certain things, prescribed or otherwise, the complicity of many of us in facilitating it, and then perhaps the pressures of life to keep up, to perform as a professional in something, whether you're a chef in a fast-paced kitchen or a lawyer in some production facility, right? Is that then where society needs to take a pause and rethink where we're at?
I believe so. We're supposed to have what you call an island meeting, where all of us is coming together, either on the Zoom or, either we coming together in one spot and we're hearing everybody, whether it take 2, 3, 4, 5 days, we're hearing everybody notions, we're recording it, and we're going to take steps, or we're going to try to find out how can we work out of this problem, because it looks like we are lacking the main thing in this life, which is unity. And if ganja is going to divide us, or cocaine is going to divide us, then we have to come about that.
Yeah, man. Always appreciate you willing to give us a shout when you can and share from your perspective. Any final thoughts before we take the break?
No, I just got to say blessings to the youth, blessings to all the callers, and blessings to everybody on this island that is thinking and working together, or trying to make sure that we work together and live this life that we have together.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Hey, you're most welcome. Final break of the program. Phone lines are there if you want to share. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Dwayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. And it's open line as we go to this next call. Hey, thank you for calling.
Mr. Sterling, how are you?
Oh, I'm truly grateful. hopefully gracious, certainly thankful, and prayerfully purposeful. How are you?
Getting there with all those things you just said.
Call those things that aren't as if they were, the scripture reminds us.
Yeah, just trying to get there. Oh, Colin, I didn't listen to your program fully today. I've been moving up and down, but the two of the pieces that I caught, you had some students on there from the John Grier School.
Yes, Mom. From the high school.
I think that kids need to get more involved in coming out on our radios and do some serious talk and educate themselves and try to put themselves in radio land in years to come and so forth. There's nothing wrong with radio land. It's a good thing to have radio land.
Yeah.
But I was listening to partial of it, and the last call was saying there, Darling, I just can't believe that this is what the people of the world has become and becoming. It is sad to me the things that you have to do to say that you have to be part of society in any part of the world. You know what I mean? Everyone has their own opinion. I'm not here to bring nobody down. But when we have to live a lifestyle of other countries and their people, it just makes you wonder, where did we get lost? Where this so small island got lost? I remember hearing a government saying one time on the radio that if we don't get with the program, we will be left behind. I wonder if this is part of being left behind if we don't get with the program. Sterling, I'm not going to say any more because I think your time is up. Is it?
God will grant me, at least, another 100 years. So I got a long time to go. But yeah, we can take the other call. But if you have anything else that you want to share, we always want to listen to you.
I just hold my other thoughts for another day. He's back to catch the caller. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. And most welcome. And we had a WhatsApp call coming in. Just try it again if you can. We'll do our best to connect up. And we will have the phone systems resolved. And sometimes it just takes a little while. And they say patience is a virtue. It is one of those things where it's important that as a people, we always consider, where we are now, where we're going, and where, life is at. So to get on air, WhatsApp, call 925-3261, or you can call 949-6990 as we take this next call. Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Lord Sterling.
How are you, my friend? How are you?
Oh, no, man. Some people may very well understand why I like to talk about the four famous women. It's an art. They make a lot of money from it, and it puts a lot of money back in the into taxes and the government and big businesses and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of people want to see happen. But to me it's a good way. The arts, and it like I said, it brings big cheese, big dollars, and you celebrate at the same time. The Picasso art sort of thing, and the other areas. I think quite a few young people should also think about that, things like that, and trade schools. They can learn about cutting hair. They can do hairdressing. They can do different
right.
things that they can start their own businesses, and they can take it anywhere in the world that they go.
Yeah.
That's mainly what I'd like to see.
Yeah, man.
They can take skills.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you again whenever you're ready.
All right.
All right. All the best. And what I'm hearing the callers share is that the country invests significant funds and resources into its people so that they see the opportunities. If they want to be an entrepreneur and pursue something, if they want to get into anything from the pharmacist to the physician, to the beautician, to the professional bodybuilder, to the painter, the sculptor, and any of the creatives, from the poet, straight through, But are we doing that? And are we somehow ignoring the plights of our people because we're, perhaps not sufficiently vested? Maybe there are competing demands. Maybe there's so much coming at us fast that we are no longer able to withstand the storms of life. But as many of the callers shared, including our students, the inference is that there needs to be a greater sense of unity. And if you're living and working here, whether you call yourself Caymanian, whether you measure that through the generations, the decades of only the short time, are we investing in each other? As we invest in ourselves? As we invest in our communities? The safety, security, civility is important for our continued sanity. And is our society one such that, as a people, we're seeing that what we have here can only be promoted if it's protected, can only be preserved if it's presented in such a way that we see the value, not just from the profit motive, as measured by the accountants and financiers, but by the economists who see the cost not just in the accounting terms, but from the perspective that there are foregone opportunities, and the profits are not, measured in the plus column, but even as the economists would call a break even. You make $100 and you cost you $100, that's still a profit because it's not being subsidized. With that in mind, as we take calls, if those who wish to share, to the gentleman that called earlier that asked, what if we gave each student a $25 and we structure it in such a way as they go through school? To the listener that shared, we incentivize and not punishing. Listener said, if it's 100,000 or 50,000 per prisoner, and prisoners are leaving prison with $10,000 or $20,000, and whatever that cost is to house that prisoner, could that money be better spent if invested in our people? All right, let's take what potentially may be the final call. Welcome, thanks for calling.
Hello, Dwayne.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon. I was trying to get on for quite a while. You seem to be very busy today, as you have been for the last week and a half.
Yeah, and thank you for, the consistency. And we recognize that we can't take all the calls as we wish, and we do apologize for that. But we will have that resolved, shortly. But thank you for listening and certainly for calling.
Yes, I just wanted to quickly say, going back quickly to last week, Monday, when a caller called in after me, we both know who it is, but I won't public identify the person. I know he was referring to my call, and he and I had an off-air conversation where I think, as someone I considered a friend, was rudely, implying in public, saying on public radio that the last call, that caller, which was referring to me, was ranting and raving and trying to muddle the whole issue of private, firearms, and absolute garbage. She has no idea what she was talking about, and absolute ignorance, and, very, very inflammatory and derogatory words coming from, from someone I thought was a friend. But I realized, he didn't touch on the points that I made when I called into my conversation, despite criticizing my conversation, because I was referring to fees and saying, that different areas of the 2008 firearms law and 1999 firearms regulations, there were changes that I think, and that's only my personal opinion.
I want you to share as well, right? And as you jog my memory from what you shared now, I recall, in somewhat greater detail, your contribution as well as a caller after.
Right.
My takeaway as I listen, I do not think he was referring to you, the person, in a derogatory way in terms of you, the person, being ignorant or foolish or any of that. He, as I interpret it, was referring that your comments relative to the fines and the fees, and his opinion of your opinion was that, you were off. But it wasn't to you, the person. I didn't get that. Doesn't mean that that's not how you felt, right? But I don't think that was his intent. But as you said, if you had a conversation with him off air, then of course, hopefully, the two of you have been able to, clarify any misunderstanding.
Right, and I take your point in regard, but because this person is a staunch advocate for personal firearms use, and we've had conversations and that, and I respect everyone's views. They have a personal agenda, which I won't publicly say because I know people would identify the person, but his agenda doesn't conform to mine. But I wouldn't publicly get online or in a radio station and even speak about someone's opinions in that way. And he's not me and I'm not him.
Right.
But in referring to this, I say that I referred to fees. I was clear. You asked me, what give some examples of what I thought changes
right,
could be made.
Right.
And going from blind memory, I referred to the areas that I
right.
in the initial stage of what could be changed. And the caller did not touch on any of that, but referred to my comments as being, as I repeated already. But I will say I could easily say the same about many of the comments that that person has publicly and conversations that we had, that I am going to be like everyone else who feels that I have the right to advocate for what I think and I believe could be best for our people and our laws, and I respect everyone else's views in regards to that. And I'm not going to be what's the word that particular caller asked me some months ago, whether I was going to be controversial. I am not going to be controversial to support someone else's agenda when my thought process is very clear.
Right. But being being controversial is certainly different from being confrontational, right? But you did recall, and this is how I remember, I think fairly accurately, your contribution as well as his thereafter. I shared with you, my question was, if we increase fees, would that only make it more expensive for that law-abiding individual who wants to legally own and possess and whatever the firearm, as opposed to the individual or entities who say the fee could be zero. They don't want to abide by the law. No fee, will make them do that, right?
Well, my personal opinion again is the fees are very outdated. They're very, very minimal. And again, this is only my opinion.
Right.
And I do believe, just like many other sections of the law, that certain fees would need to should be upgraded because it encourages fair and responsible gun ownership, but it also shows that I would have to get into the fee structure and so forth. Why I feel the fee structure could increase by a few dollars, and that's my logic and my experience of reviewing laws and so forth and coming to certain determinations. And I do think that would encourage many. We know that not all firearms, private firearms, commit the offenses that we've seen happening in Cayman. But I speak from personal experience when I can say I know of at least one time when it did happen. But besides the point, my point was separate and apart, was that our laws need revising. They need modernizing. Certain areas need changing and increasing. And one step is a major step in starting to work for better law enforcement, right? It may not be what someone else sees, but the fact remains is that's my point of view, and I do strongly believe this is not the first time I've spoken to anyone about modernizing these two particular laws in regards to guns. There's other sections of the penal code that refers to gun possession that caller doesn't even know about or he didn't refer to. And that has a whole, we go into talking about penalties and all that kinds of stuff. The entire law needs to be revised. I think the government is working on that very diligently. They have, over 30-something piece of legislation that they're trying to revise and so forth. So they have their work cut out for them. But when we have, and respectfully I say this, when we have one person that's only focused on what would be beneficial to them and not our community, and I only spoke of two areas because those were what I could remember from the get-go. But we have to pull together as a community. We have to review the laws in its entirety and not pick and choose what we think is an agenda. It's like the marijuana thing, where some people believe I want to legalize marijuana because it's going to do this and it's going to do that. We don't think about the big picture and the long-term effects and all that kinds of stuff. And I'm not saying that I'm against criminalizing or modernizing. I'm just using that for an example because it's another controversial piece of is another controversial area where just as much as the gun thing. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I'll leave you with that because I've waited for over a week to express these sentiments, and I would like everyone that comes on the show to be reminded of the disclaimer that you guys say at the beginning of your show, to respect everyone's opinions and views, and to watch how, I'm paraphrasing, to just think of how they're speaking when they're referring to other callers and so forth, because it's very demeaning, and it doesn't look good on callers when we're all trying to pull together as a community to solve the problems of these islands.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And this is why I appreciate you sharing. And again, for what is worth, personally, our apologies. I do not think that his comments were inflammatory or directed at you personally. And apologies if you felt.
When you say in someone's absolute, her comments were absolute ignorance. Now I'm quoting. She does not know what she's talking about. That's referring to the caller personally, me personally.
Okay.
And that person is very intelligent. I mean, and to make these kinds, and I did say to the person, I said, you could use. I was very surprised because I know you could find better words to use than that.
Right. Okay.
Because ignorance means you can't read and write and comprehend properly, and that's certainly not me.
Okay.
But thanks very much for the opportunity to hear my thoughts, Dwayne, as always.
Always, thank you for taking time to share, and I'm looking forward to your continued commentary. Enjoy your afternoon, okay?
You too.
All right, take care. Thanks. Is there another call, sir, or is it that for today? We take one final quick call. Hey, my sisters always say the woman that marries me finds a good man, but leave that alone for now. Let's take this final call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling. How are you, my friend?
I just was waiting to hear something and make me laugh at least.
Hey, laughter is good medicine, man. Laughter is good medicine.
Yeah, that's what make this one really quick, because I was listening to the caller before. He set some really good points out there that we need to really consider. Regardless of whether they like it or not, what's the benefits of what we're gonna get out of this is the better part, because what happened is we're losing a lot because of ignorance. We're losing a lot because of ignorance, Mr. Sterling. There's this thing, narco hypnosis. It's a hypnotic state produced by drugs and sometimes used in psychotherapy. Things like that, when you get your hands on medication like this, and say, for example, you distribute it out to people that are not supposed to be prescribed because they just want to feel that cool, mellow feeling that they need it. But then if they don't need it, that's a different effect. Sir, there's a lot of things going on in the streets. And I haven't been on the streets for a long time, so I can imagine how, boy, it's sad to know that we are just sitting down here and knowing that we splashing money into this radio station, right? That you so-called you listen to, this the only radio station that you listen to, right? And we got a lot of young, brilliant minds out there just coming in, flinging good ideas at you. And then you would prefer to flog them. You prefer to kick them into obedience, these type of things, because you don't want them to speak out. You don't want them to talk. And then the prisons is the asset, or clubs. I don't know which one.
Is that the thing, though? I mean, you said assets, or
Yeah, because everything is all revolving around crime. Like, we can't stop talking about something else other than crime. And all of it revolves around marijuana, guns, and cocaine. And then now they have all these other different type of drugs, because, we got all different type of countries coming involved in all different types of habits. And I mean, we got catered to them too,
Yeah, man.
So I don't know I don't know who's gonna be doing it for them, but it's not me. I tell you what, I've always run by what I know is pretty natural. And marijuana is one of the most natural substances that you can eat, drink, smoke, meditate, rub on your skin. I don't know what else you can do. You put it on the tongue or other things that need it. You know, like this is the stuff that heals the nation, and nobody want to acknowledge that. We just had Bob Marley come out with another. Well, his loving people had a movie come out for him. Wanted to make the world know there was something different, regardless if you equal or not. And then we still out here respecting the man, but marijuana still illegal worldwide. Worldwide, somewhere around the world, marijuana is still illegal, like as if it was a crime. Yeah. That sucks, yo. That's almost as if it was to say, all of a sudden your blood pressure tablets or diabetes tablets or whatever other type of tablets you gotta take is discontinued because they found out that it's illegal.
I appreciate your passion, and certainly as you've advocated, we need education and awareness, and we need to approach things from an informed perspective. Hey, thanks for leading us there.
Right.
We can chat another time.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks for listening, and call in when you can. All right. Well, it's Wednesday. Come tomorrow, so we obviously invite you to join Mr. Art for always an informative show. 1 p.m. tomorrow. There's a live press briefing. We're going to take that live. We'll make some adjustments so that can be aired and the listeners can be informed, as Radio Cayman is not just the official voice of the country, but it's owned, operated, and controlled by us as people. So we have, that access. Very convenient. Radio, without question, is the best. So 1 p.m. tomorrow, we'll have a regular guest at 12 to 1, thereabouts. And then when the, press briefing starts at 1, we'll take that live. As the callers shared today, I'm genuinely inspired by our youth of this country. And if you haven't had a chance to listen to them, as the three gentlemen today is so ably epitomize their concerns, their vision, and their passion. Scripture talks about, where there is no vision, the people perish. If our young people don't have a sense of hope, what happens? If they don't feel nurtured, they don't feel supported, they don't feel protected, they don't feel that we've created, we say it a lot, we got to create a safe space, but it's just words. Are we physically, genuinely, and consciously ensuring that we have created that physical safe space? The fights that happen in and out of schools, the things that are transpiring in society, are we turning a blind eye to it? Are we, like many of the callers asked, significantly strong enough in enforcing the laws from the illicit drugs and guns and other things that may be coming in to our shores or leaving our shores? What are we doing about it? The response isn't that we give up our freedoms because we're law-abiding. It's that we punish the errant behavior. The ethos in this country needs to be significantly examined as a people if we're going to ensure that safety and security that we all crave, that our parents and their parents and their parents before them sacrificed so diligently and willingly, that we may have a future not to make us weaker, but to make us a better place. And if we're not prepared to come together, whether your ancestral roots go back further than mine, or whether you just step foot off the plane, whether you're a long-time visitor, your first-time visitor, you've been living here for an extended period, you want the space and place in which you're in, whether vacation, working, or otherwise, to be a space and that you are safe. And we can't allow comparisons to say, well, this thing hasn't happened before, compared to the places, it's not so bad. Well, take one simple example. You're walking your dog out in the dikes somewhere, and you're the only person that used that path. Now, you may think letting your dog, do its business there is okay, because it'll wash away. You may think, well, you bag it up, but you just throw the bag there, it's okay. Well, let's say you're the only person that is doing that. That's the only spot. Let's say it's your land even. Will that bag of poop disappear? If it does, how long will it take? But even if it takes a while, at some point you're going to have to trek amongst it. Is that what you want? Well, it may be a simple example, but let's magnify that 1 by 100,000 by X. You see the problem? Just like the ignorance when it comes to willful blindness to certain things, like so much we continue to do because it makes it better. But when we are willfully blind to what's before us, we only have ourselves to blame. Please join us tomorrow. Remember, 1 p.m. there is a live press briefing. We will take that here on Radio Cayman so that you can be informed. Thanks again for this honor, and to parents and teachers, continue to partner to make sure young people have a sense of hope. Let's make sure that their future is brighter than it was given to us. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.